And welcome to another edition of OnSide SA, and we finally got a winner from our last one standing, and I've got Budgie here, and we'll have Stevie B on the line soon. Well, it was very tight all the way. Colin McCabe was on West Ham.
Yeah, Paul, he was at Jacini Dam Fishy with your mate. Ron Askell?
No, Ronnie Ansell.
Ronald Ansell.
Ronnie, a good man. Ronnie. I thought this was Hugh Matthews' mate, but it's another Colin McCabe who's Hugh Matthews' big mate.
Okay, no, Mark Bowman's a good friend, Westville boy.
Spurs supporter.
John wants to go to Spurs, so...
Okay, well, good for him. Well done, Colin. It was tough all the way. You got a feel for Gary Grant.
Yeah.
He was on Wolves.
Yeah.
And
95th minute equaliser.
95th minute equaliser. Fulham with Sean Phillips were 2-1 up.
Yeah.
And then Everton, Mark Jackson.
Yeah, they played well, but they were always behind. So
they got a point.
They got a point, but didn't help.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Well done at Postnet for making this a very interesting.
Yeah, Paul. Chris Wheeler, I'll get hold of him one of these days. Paul, just thankfully, a lot of guys came. We're going to come forward, other than Dave Goss, who sponsored our first one.
Yes.
Yeah, but once we got Postnet, Paul, a lot of guys coming forward. Oh, can we? I said, guys, too late.
Too late.
Postnet. Thanks to Chris and
Tyron
and all his crew
and the Postman.
No doubt.
No doubt the Postman as well. So that's excellent. Well done, Colin. You've taken it to the next level. Let's see if we can get Stevie B, who's a bit throaty this morning. Stevie, you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning,
a little
Steve.
bit croaky.
A little bit croaky, Right. I budged last night's game. I did not watch it. I fell asleep, but you were telling me cracking game.
Yeah, cracking game, Steve. Was it a fair result in the end?
Yeah, it was. I think so. I mean, City had a few good chances in the first half, but Brighton really had a go, and I think that just shows the way they played their football this season. There aren't many teams that match City for possession, but they gave it a real go. I mean, he rotated. Roberto, they both rotated a little bit, but when he brought on McAllister and as I say, in the second half, and it was a good game. I mean, Brighton. Technically, they needed a point, although they didn't because of their goal difference. But, I think honours even was probably fair. But Pep might be disappointed because, obviously, they wanted to keep the winning run going. But they didn't lose, so I don't think he'd be too upset at the end. Yeah,
if they had a decent centre forward, I think they would have won. The through ball, the final pass, and that's the difference with City and the rest of the teams in England. Yeah. They get to the last third and they can make something happen. Brighton... little bit unlucky, but when you got...
They've improved, Budge.
Oh, no, Paul, they're great to watch. Actually, the interesting thing for me was a lot of those, like Man City players, Steve, Foden's not right. That Achilles is hurting big time,
Yeah.
So I just hope they get to the Champions League final. Obviously, the FA Cup final next week is another story. But no doubt, superb
Man United
team.
play tonight.
Man United, Chelsea tonight. Steve, can we get the point?
I think so. I mean, I think, as far as I'm concerned, this is the game they want to get it wrapped up. They don't want to sort of go to Sunday, under pressure. I think that, look, we don't know what Lampard's going to do with Chelsea. I mean, he keeps swapping it over. They had a bit of a go at City, but, City rested players and deserved the win. I think United will go all guns blazing. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he plays his, what will be his cup final team, injuries permitting. And I think United should get at least a point tonight.
Yeah,
is that all they need?
Just do 1 point, Chuck. And can't get a point to 2 home games with a home form, deserve nothing. Okay. Steve, just going into the weekend's Premiership battle, just to go through it. 7, 8 and 9, the Europa Champions League, Conference League places still up for grabs between Aston Villa, Tottenham and Brentford. Aston Villa win it.
If you run 8 to get nothing.
Nothing, Aston Villa win it. Beat Brighton, they're in. If they don't, they draw and Spurs win. Spurs are in if they don't win. And Brentford beat Man City, they're in.
A lot of permutations.
But it's all in Aston Villa's hands. At the bottom, Steve, Everton win. Obviously it's all over. But if they draw, Leicester can get out of it. And if they win, and Leeds, I don't think they've got any chance. But that's a permutation.
If Everton...
win, they're safe.
Yeah, if they draw, Leicester can win and beat them on goal difference.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
So that's the story. And also, and then Leeds, I think, are gone. Anyway, on to the weekend's betting. And Sunday, 5:30 are all the games. Obviously, they want to make it a big day, which they always do. And first game up, Steve, we've got Arsenal at home to Wolves.
Hollywoodbets.
How do you see it?
Well, I think Arsenal will want to go out on a high. Obviously, it's been a very disappointing few weeks for them. I can't see anything other than a home win. You'd like to think that they'll raise their game. Obviously, they've been very disappointing recently.
Yeah.
In the end, it wasn't close. And if City get a win, they could, there'll be several points clear of them. So I think Arsenal will want to put on a show for their 60,000 fans, and I think that they should win.
Yeah, only won 2 of the last 8, which is worrying. And Wolves have players that can try and control the game, Ruben Neves and co. But you've got to fancy
Wolves have lost 5 of their last 6 away.
Garbage away. They got beat 6 by Brighton. Even against Man United, they never looked like it. And Arsenal should canter home. And good for them. They've had a good season. I think they've made the season.
Good team. Yeah.
Without Arsenal, the league would have been worth talking about. So let's hope they do win comfortably. Aston Villa Brighton, massive game after what we've watched Brighton of late. Steve, I've got to fancy Aston Villa. I know it could go either way, but they're good at home. They don't give much away. I think this is going to be a humding of a game, Steve. But which way do you see it going?
Brighton's a good side.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that Brighton have got their point now. They're safe in the Europa League and qualified. Finished in 6th place. I think Villa was a very good performance. That was a very big point for them at Anfield last week, and I think that they'll. But Brighton, as we know, and we watched them last night. Even though he rotated, they play some lovely football. But I just think this is it for Villa. Opportunity of getting some European football. Shows how well that Unai Emery has done. So and reading between the lines, it sounds like he's going to be given quite a bit of money in the summer to invest in players. So I think at the moment, all things looking good for Villa, and I fancy them to edge it by a goal.
Yeah, I think there'll be goals in this, but 6 home wins in a row. That's not easy to scoff at in the Premiership.
Steve, right there.
Brentford, Man City, Steve. There's no chance he's playing De Bruyne and Foden, and I think Stones as well. They looked a bit edgy or dodgy. Can Brentford upset them?
Well, look, the truth is they can. I was surprised that how easily in the second half that they won at Spurs. In all honesty, and here they are. They put themselves in a good opportunity, even without Ivan Toney. I can't believe that Pep is going to want to lose the last league game, but this is a bit of a dead rubber for them because, as you say, they got the cup final coming up and obviously the Champions League final. He isn't going to risk players that might be carrying a bit of a knock, so he will rotate. But then when he rotates, it's still strong. I think Brentford will be in their face. Paul knows, having been there, it's a small, tight ground, good atmosphere. City aren't going to just sort of turn up and roll them over. They're going to have to work hard. So I think it'll be a close game. I think City probably still favourites for me, but I think that Brentford will give them a tough game.
Yeah, I totally agree. Brentford's last 15 home league games, 7 wins, 7 draws and 1 defeat. And that was a late winner by Newcastle. So it'll be tight, Paul. They'll be in their face, Grand Prix football. And they did beat them 2-1 at the Etihad. So you just never know. But I think this is a game Man City don't want to play. 7-10, I think it'll drift. But it won't be a game I'll be watching, but an upset is possible. Chelsea-Newcastle, Steve. Having watched Chelsea in the last 10 games, I can't have them. The only problem will be Newcastle celebrating, and they're in the Champions League. So that's a great achievement. But I think they're going to want to go out on a high, and they'll take a mass support with them. I can see Newcastle winning this. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think so. Especially Chelsea are playing tonight, and Frank Lampard is, he's going to want to try and win one of these last 2 games, but I'm not sure they will. He'll put out a strong team tonight. He'll probably have to rotate a bit on Sunday, but I think you're right. I think Eddie Howe's going to want to go out on a high. Obviously they always sell out their away allocation. Newcastle, they'll be very vociferous, in a good mood. I'd be surprised if Chelsea can beat them. They might hold them, bearing in mind it's their last game, and Lampard will probably want to go out not with a humiliating defeat, on top of all the others he's lost. But I think of the 2, if there was to be a winner, I fancy Newcastle.
Yeah, I agree as well.
The Palace.
Crystal Palace, not Forest, Steve. I'm so happy that for Steve Cooper that Forest managed to stay in the league. The last 5 games, they've shown a lot of fight. I don't see them winning at Palace, though.
They don't
How do you
well.
see it?
They don't travel well.
Well, Palace. It was an interesting game at Fulham. I mean, they caught us on the break a couple of times and finished strongly. But for a lot of the game, we were on top. Roy likes to sit back, and then break with speed, and they've got the players to hurt, even without Sahar. I mean, they got Eze, who's just been called up to the England squad for the first time. They got Edouard, Elise. They've got some players. I think Forest will just be relieved they've stayed up. They can play without pressure, but I think Palace will sign off for the season with a home win.
Yeah, totally agree. I think there'll be goals in that, though.
Here's
On to our second page, Everton, Bournemouth. Win and you're in for Everton.
Win it, you're in.
Will they do it?
Well, look, the truth is they know what they have to do. It's in their own hands. They've done this before. They've had, over the years, they've had one or
Wimbledon.
two positions. But they beat Wimbledon from a losing position. I think they'll do it. But having said that, Gary O'Neill, Bournemouth could spoil the party. I think Everton realised that unless they're fortunate, anything other than a win, and they're in trouble. So I think they're hoping that Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be fit. Obviously, it's when he's been on the pitch recently, he's made a difference, and I think getting that fighting points at Wolves was absolute key for them. So I think they'll get the win. I think it'll be nervy, but the Goodison faithful will be roaring them on.
Steve, you're saying Calvert-Lewin may play. Paul, you say?
I read something there that he's less than 10% chance of playing.
Well, then in that case, it will be difficult for them. But I think, look, they know what they have to do. There's no excuses. They've got to have a go. Very interesting. They had a stat the other day is that a lot of their key goals have been scored by defenders in this run since Sean Dyche has gone there. And he's not afraid to sort of throw Yerry Mina and Tarkowski and Keane. They've all come up with absolutely vital goals that have won them. They've won them 6 points effectively, and that's the difference. So whereas they're not firing up front, he's got these big guys from set pieces that are doing the business for him. But I think they'll do it. It's a lesson to them because they've been fortunate this year. They've had some really bad performances. They can't afford to go down. I mean, none of them can. But with FFP and their situation with the new stadium, I think they would be in financial meltdown if they got relegated.
Yeah, I think they'll score early, and that'll have a major effect on the other games. I think they'll win comfortably. I just think that the passion of those fans, we saw it last year when Lampard was there. They were under pressure, and those Scousers know, I've been in that ground, it's tight, and I think they'll win, Steve. Pressure's off Bournemouth. I think they'll be grateful.
Imagine what the Leeds ground's going to be like. They'll be hanging off the rafters.
Steve, I think Tottenham are certainties to beat Leeds. Leeds were disgraceful last week. Sam Allardyce, I think he's only won one ever trophy. I know he's got promotion. He got Bolton. They beat Preston in the playoff when Moyes is at Preston. But he's got an ego, and I think that bubble is due to burst. I can't see them beating Spurs. I know Spurs have been woeful. This could be Harry Kane's last game. You never know. Hopefully for Spurs fans it isn't. But 20-1, I'm taking Harry Kane hat-trick this week, Steve. But how do you see the game going now?
Look, I mean, Tottenham still have an outside chance of European football. You'd think that they would look at that and give it everything they've got. And, they're more than capable of going there and but they've just been so poor on the road recently. And they've been, even Paul knows, I mean, they've conceded so many goals. Leeds, this is it for Leeds. I mean, win and it still might not be enough, but I think they'll have a real go. Although they went out with a whimper in the end last week, but against Newcastle they played well. I don't know. I just have a feeling that they're going to throw everything at Tottenham, and whether or not the Tottenham defence are just going to melt away because, I think they just want the season to end there at the moment with everything that's going on. Maybe I'll sort of a little bit controversial and think that, on paper Tottenham should win it, but I just think with the crowd, if Leeds gets to score first, I think that crowd could lift them, and you never know, there might be a surprise.
Yeah.
Scored first last week.
Yeah, that's true, Steve. You know, just having watched them, the centre forward Bamford's injured.
Yeah,
how he kept Rodrigo on, I do not know. He was limping.
He's not sound.
So they'll be without two forwards. They've got nobody else.
And nobody else.
And I just think that Spurs, this is the last game, guys. Sitting in the change room, let's have a go here. Leeds are coming for 30 minutes. But if the Everton score early, you can imagine the deflation in that stadium. So that's me. But I think Spurs will destroy them either way. Leicester, West Ham, Steve. Everyone's saying what a tactical genius Dean Smith was after they drew at Newcastle. They should have got beat 6. I know they had one chance late on where it was Castagna volleyed it at Nick Pope. But if Newcastle had scored early, that was 6.
Benching his best players.
Benching Maddison and Barnes. I can see tactically why he did it. But they had to win that game, Steve. I don't know. Listen, it was a good point at the end, Newcastle. I know West Ham last week, Steve, were there for the taking for Leeds. They started off slow. It was like a five-a-side game. And once they equalised, there was only one winner. And now they've had a week to prepare. This is Moyes' last game. Reportedly, he's going to get the chop, or they may get somebody else. I fancy West Ham
here. Could be Rice's last game.
Yeah, Declan Rice, no doubt.
Yeah. Look, in the end, they got the point, Leicester, whether they deserved it or not.
Sure.
Tactically, I guess it justified playing 3 centre halves, and you can see what he wanted to do. He was praying that they would hold out, and in the last 10-15 minutes, they came into it a little bit, and obviously Castagna had that very late chance. Would have been daylight robbery if they'd have won that, but they got the point. I think he will play a different side. They've got to have a go.
Yeah.
If they don't, they could win, and it still might not be enough. But I think they'll have to win, and I think they've got the players to do it. I wonder if West Ham now might think, Leicester are going to throw everything at them. West Ham players are not going to want to get injured. I mean, they've got this huge game coming up soon in Prague.
No, it's the 7th,
I just wonder whether
10
or not.
days away,
It is, but you just think, they've done what they had to do. They obviously raised their game at home. I don't know. I just got a feeling that Leicester, they know what they have to do. I think they'll get the win, but I'm not sure it'll be enough for them.
Yeah.
Okay, but your boys, Budge, 2 games in a few days.
Yeah, Man United, Fulham, Steve. I think it all depends on tonight. If United get the point tonight, I think he may rotate, give Harry Maguire a game. But obviously, if they get beat tonight, well, then it's pressure time.
Well, I would be very surprised if they lose tonight. I think they'll get at least a point.
Yeah.
And as you say, I suspect he will rotate. Having said that, whatever team he puts out, injuries permitting, should be strong enough to beat Fulham. I think we'll have. We've obviously got a bit of an axe to grind after the cup situation.
Exactly.
And I think that I think we'll have a go. But the best I think we could possibly hope for could be snatch a point. I think United, have got a very good run at home at the moment. They're not going to want to lose their last game ahead of a cup final. So I think United will. Whatever team he puts out should still be favourites, but I think if he does rotate, it gives us half a chance. We'll put out our strongest available team. Mitrovic will play. Hopefully, he'll respect the referee a little bit more than he did last time. But it'll be interesting. I think, and if United do win, I don't think it'll be more than a goal. I think it will be. I think they'll get the point tonight. I think they'll get 3 points tonight, and then it'll be a bit of a carnival atmosphere really for United fans on Sunday.
Yeah, that's what the fans are all looking for. But I fancy Fulham to score. I saw 7.5 to 10, both teams to score. I think you'll score, Steve. Last but not least, Southampton, Liverpool. Surely Liverpool are going to be too strong.
Well, you'd think, whatever the result tonight, obviously, that if United get that point, Liverpool know they can't get into the Champions League. But I would be really surprised. I mean, you've got the team with the worst home record in the league playing against Liverpool, who up until the other day had won sort of 6-7 in a row. You'd think that Klopp's going to want to go out on a high, and I think I'd be really surprised if it's anything other than a comfortable away win.
Yeah, I think Liverpool will destroy them. Steve, on to the promotion playoff finals and some great games here. Kick off on Saturday. Coventry against Luton Town. Which way do you see it going?
Yeah, I think that's going to be. At the beginning of the season, 2 unfancied teams, really. You think they knocked out the big northeast teams. I just wonder with a big pitch that's going to suit Coventry better.
Yeah.
You know, Luton are very strong at home on their very tight ground. You know, they've been playing well away, but I just think Coventry had a bit of a late run. Luton have been up there for a second half of the season, but Coventry have come late, and I just wonder whether or not they'll just be a little bit too strong in the end.
Yeah, strangely, the two league meetings both ended in draws. So obviously 21-10. I agree. Of the two teams, I like Coventry, but that's one could go either way.
Steve wins.
Teams automatic premiership.
Automatic, eh?
Yeah. Steve, I saw a clip the other day about Luton Town. They went to get into the ground. They have to go through somebody's house.
Hey, brilliant.
Yeah, effectively, so you're not actually in the house. It's
you go basically
the away fans. I mean, they need a new stadium. Their stadium is not really fit for purpose for the Premier League. They've got to spend about £10 million to bring it up to satisfactory standard, but they are looking to move to a new ground. If they get promoted, I think that will certainly give them the impetus to do that, because they've got a capacity of 10,000, which is not unlike Bournemouth. And obviously, they've got the interesting enough, the two teams, Coventry and Luton, have got two of the smallest budgets. So the fact that they've got themselves into a playoff final, really against the odds. Somebody like Norwich. I saw a stat. So Norwich wage bill is 6 times that of Luton. And they've just got, done nothing this year, really, Norwich. So you just think, they've done it really on a shoestring. And for both teams who were in League 2 6 years ago, it's quite a fairy tale for them to come, and especially for Luton, who came up through non-league, having sort of gone all the way down to come back up. So whoever gets in, I mean, it will set them up for a number of years with the infrastructure and the Sky money.
Well, let's hope there's an early goal, otherwise this could tame out.
Is that at Wembley?
That's at Wembley, yeah.
Now, what about the other
League 2 finals, Steve? I'm surprised the League 2 finals ahead of the League 1, but Carlisle, that's our mate Swibbler's old team, against Stockport County. Which way do you see it?
Should be a good game. Again, Stockport, came up only a couple of seasons ago from the National League. I think that's going to be a very close game. I fancy Stockport obviously finished higher than Carlisle. I fancy them to win it. I just think that there's something about that club, and I was very impressed watching them when they played in the Cup. I think they beat Bolton, and there were some good games in the FA Cup. I've got a feeling it's going to be close, but Stockport might just edge it.
Okay, Barnsley, Sheffield, Wednesday, Steve. That's a Yorkshire clash, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, look, after the first leg at Peterborough, you couldn't get any money really on Sheffield. No team has ever come from 3 goals down, let alone 4 goals down. And they, and again, even in the second leg at Hillsborough, they were like seconds from going out in extra time. I just wonder whether their name. I mean, they finished with the points they had, finishing thirds to Plymouth and Ipswich. In normal circumstances, they would have gone up. Yeah. So I think they'll start as favourites. I saw a game of not that many weeks ago. Barnsley Sheffield Wednesday was on telly, and Barnsley beat them. It was a great game.
It was. It was a Friday night game, I think.
Yeah, I think there will be goals, but I just wonder whether Sheffield Wednesday have got themselves from a position where no one would have expected it, and I think that Darren Moore, I mean, he's really done well. He's had a lot of doubters, I think, but they've stuck with him, and I think he'll get them up to the championship.
Yeah, should be a good game. My dad will be all over the Barnsley Butchers, as they were known when he was playing there. Steve, pressure time again. I need your best bet and value bet, please.
It's a tricky one. I mean, it's. I'm going to go. This is not my week. I'm going to go for Leicester. I think they know what they need to do. They've got players who are capable, and I think they're going to want it more than West Ham, and I think that they might just edge it. Value bet. It could be anybody. I might go for Chelsea. Actually, I just think that they might finish on a high, just because they've been so poor for the last 3 months. Yeah. But. But at the end of the day, I know we've got teams fighting for Europa place, but I think all the Sky are covering effectively the 3 games at the bottom, because and they'll be switching between them, of course, because as soon as the first team scores, then they leapfrog the others potentially. So it makes it sort of quite exciting Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. Steve, do you see Everton staying up?
I think they can. I think it's in their own hands. That goal is crucial, and they've been fighting. I mean, I know their home form has been up and down, but away, they've been fighting. They've been scrapping and getting points, and they know. Look, it is very much in their own hands. The Leeds, I think, will go. I think even if they were to beat Tottenham, I think it's beyond them now because effectively Everton only need a point to relegate Leeds unless Leeds beat Tottenham by more than 3 goals, which I can't see happening.
No. Okay, Steve, last but not least, the Europa League Cup final is next Wednesday. Roma park the bus, Mourinho's side against Sevilla.
Well,
who do you think will lift the
I've watched Roma play. I watched them the other night.
Terrible.
And they really make hard work of it. He's obviously putting all his eggs in one basket. They've got a little bit of a reprieve because Juventus having another 10 points deducted, all of a sudden Roma have got a chance of a Europa place in their own right. But I think, look, Sevilla have got a stranglehold on this competition. They do really well, and I just think that they will start as favourites. But if Roma score first, then they'll make it really difficult. Be very, there's a lot of talk about Tammy Abraham maybe coming back to the Premier League.
Okay.
So I think if he wants to get himself back into contention for an England place, he probably needs to do that. But I think Sevilla, if they score first, I think they'll win it.
Yeah, I agree. 5 Man United players in the champions in the European finals. Can you believe it? Smalling and Matic. I don't think there's any other one playing for Roma, but I hope it's a good game. I hope Seville score first, then Mourinho's team's got to come out. Steve, thanks as always, and we'll be in contact over the weekend.
What are his best bets? I didn't write them down.
Steve's best bet, he went for Leicester.
Yes.
And his best each way, Chelsea.
Good man,
Obviously,
Steve. Good man,
that's
Steve.
Chelsea on Sunday, Steve, not tonight.
No, definitely not tonight. For me, United all the way tonight. They'll get those 3 points.
All right,
the best,
Steve. Thanks, Steve.
Hope you get rid of that
Cheers,
frog.
bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Right, Budge, Nedbank Cup final.
Paul, playing at Loftus Versfeld of all places, but got a fancy Pirates, Paul. The only thing is they played a couple of weeks ago, and then they drew 1-1.
They've drawn twice.
Yeah, so Sekakuna well organised, Paul. But the big day crowd will all be over with Pirates, so you got a fancy Pirates
Saturday
to win
at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, Paul. So.
Okay, but tell me your bets. Tell me yours.
Paul. On to our exotics for the weekend, and we kick off with the score 6. We'll bring the slide up now. Paul, I've gone 3 bankers, 3 fields. Arsenal should win, but you don't know the mental state of the players. So I've gone the 3 fields in the Arsenal Wolves, Aston Villa Brighton, and Brentford Man City game. Yeah. I've banked Tottenham to beat Leeds, Man United to beat Fulham, and I think Liverpool is certainties to beat Southampton 162 rand. On to the other soccer 6. These are all Sunday games. I'm going Aston Villa the field against Brighton, Newcastle win and draw at Chelsea. I'm going Crystal Palace to avoid defeat at home against Notts Forest. I think Everton will do the job and beat Bournemouth. Tottenham will beat Leeds United in the field in the Leicester West Ham game, 2-1-6. On to our score 10. It is a Sunday game. I'm going Arsenal win and draw at home against Wolves. The field in the Aston Villa-Brighton clash. Man City to avoid defeat at Brentford. Siding all the way with Tottenham to beat Leeds United, along with Man United to beat Fulham. On to the second page, I'm going Liverpool to win at Southampton. I think Atletico Madrid will be too good for Real Sociedad. Barcelona will end the season beating Real Mallorca, the last home game. And 2 fields in the Sevilla, Real Madrid, and Juventus AC Milan fixtures, 2-1-6. On to the soccer 13, I'm going Man City win and draw at Brentford, banking Man United to beat Fulham, Liverpool to beat Southampton, going with Aston Villa to avoid defeat against Brighton. I think Everton will be too strong at home for Bournemouth. Steve disagrees, but I think West Ham United won't lose at Leicester City, and Tottenham should be too good for Leeds United. On to the second page, I'm going Newcastle United win and draw at Chelsea, Arsenal to win at the Emirates against Wolves, Crystal Palace win and draw at home against Notts Forest, siding with Juventus to avoid defeat at home against AC Milan, Atletico Madrid 9-10 at home to beat Real Sociedad, and Malmö in the top of the league Swedish clash win and draw at Elfsborg 2-56.
Why did Juventus have more points taken away? Or points
financial fair play.
Financial fair play. Okay, thanks.
They had 15 points and they got the points back. and then they found the irregularities again. So the case is going on. And
all right, now the best part.
Yeah, Paul, I've kept, not easy, but still, I've gone Aston Villa. I've chanced them to beat Brighton. And I've gone Liverpool to beat Southampton and over 3.5 goals.
Over 3.5?
Yep, I think it'll be a 6-5-1 job. And Tottenham to beat Leeds and over 2.5 goals, Paul. 5-2, 3,400 to 200 that bet. Paul, I had to find something else. I'm going Arsenal to beat Wolves and both teams to score. Aston Villa to beat Brighton and both teams to score. And Man United to beat Fulham and both teams to score. I think
good odds.
5,100 to 200, Paul. So got to take a chance. So team goals only, I'm going Arsenal and Aston Villa to both score over 1.5 goals. And I'm going Liverpool and Tottenham to both score over 2.5 goals. 3,300 to 200. The Spanish quad, I'm going Atletico Madrid to beat Real Sociedad, Barcelona to beat Mallorca at home, and Real Madrid to beat Sevilla away. I think with Sevilla playing the Europa League on Wednesday, they'll rest their main players. And I'm going over 2.5 goals in the relegation battle between Valencia and Espanyol, 2,400 to 200. On to Sweden, where the league kicks off. I'm going Brommapojkarna to beat...
South African playing there?
That's Kieran Jordan's son, Paul. They've done well, won 5 of the last 6. So Brommapojkarna, biggest club in the world, to beat Sirius. I'm going Djurgårdens to beat ARK Stockholm. Both teams to score in the Elfsborg Malmo and Degerfors Varberg game. 2,400 to 200 now.
You should get it just for pronouncing those names.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez, Paul, doesn't get easier. Go lower down. And Collis King 6 on extra, Paul. I'm going Liverpool to beat Southampton. Tottenham to beat Leeds. Atletico Madrid to beat Real Sociedad. Barcelona to beat Mallorca. Flamengo in Brazil to be too good for Cruzeiro. And Botafogo to beat America Mineiro. 5,200 to 200, Paul. So the only thing fortunate about these newer leagues, Paul, or the lesser leagues, the prices are a little bit better. So you do get slightly better odds. And the seasons have just started. So we'll crack on.
Okie dokie. Well, interesting stuff. Obviously, Sunday, everyone will be glued to TV at that time. 5:30. It'll be very, very good. Well done, of course, to Spurs man Colin McCabe, who won with his West Ham team, the last one standing. I believe he's going to go out to watch a Spurs game. Anything else, Budge, before we wrap?
Nah, Paul.
We're all good.
All good, Paul. Last week, I can't believe how quick the season's gone.
Yep, flew through. Till next time, stay on side.